right? So like from your first day, you're definitely gonna get that one-on-one session with your direct line manager, and it's just gonna be them showing you around. From my own experience, most companies will have like some kind of communication channel, like Microsoft Teams, for instance, and you need to be added to it. So that's usually what they'll do on the first day. They'll get you into Teams, add you to the meetings that you need to be in. If it's a remote role, that one is necessary, because the only way remote work is possible is using a collaboration tool like Microsoft Teams, for instance. So you're gonna get an account, you're gonna get added to a bunch of meetings, and you can look at your calendar to see what your day is gonna look like. So typically there will be like a stand-up meeting in the morning or at the beginning of the work, depending on the time zone it is for you. So, and then you have like a stand-up call where everybody just comes in to give updates on what they're working on, and then you have several other meetings, a bunch of other meetings the rest of the day to just collaborate and work with your team members, right? And then you get like some kind of onboarding sessions that they'll conduct for the new guys, and kind of introduce you to all the other resources. Your company would likely be on one of those cloud platforms, like Azure, AWS, and the likes. So you need access to all those things. They'll give you permissions based on your job role, based on what you need to do, and they will actually tell you, basically how to succeed on the job, and take whatever question you might have. And then eventually you meet your team members. If you're a data engineer, it's going to be a bunch of other data engineers. From my own experience, it's always about building data pipelines, cleaning up data. Typically, there will be like a Jupyter notebook. Jupyter notebook is the main tool that I've seen them use a lot of the time. And then building data pipelines could be maybe in Azure, using Azure machine learning, or any other machine learning framework and things like that. So if you're new, obviously you will need some guidance. So they would typically have like a team lead, or someone who is acting as who is like the most senior in the team, who will kind of put you through and kind of work with you closely for the first few weeks until you're well settled in. I mean, this is just top of my head and just thinking out loud, and I think I've probably painted a good picture. But if you have any more questions, specific, if you're curious about any specific aspect of that, let me know.
Okay, it's clear enough, sir. It's clear enough. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So, do we have anyone here who is kind of like, already, who is kind of like already working in a company? Okay, Victor. Obviously, I know Victor. Victor is already is already a senior man somehow. So I think it will be very beneficial, to the new guys to kind of get some perspective. What's your current role, Olalekon? could you just tell us just a little bit about your work, like on a day-to-day basis, what it's like, just like the paint a picture for us.
Oh, okay. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, so I work with Ultra Integrated as a cloud engineer actually, and they're like AWS partner. So actually, I got
Mm.
recruited there as a web developer. But along run, started working on cloud, and so most times, basically, most of the tasks we do is like, okay, when we get like customers, we help them like leverage AWS services. Sometimes maybe like tracking their systems. Sometimes we create like websites for them. Sometimes chatbots like because today I worked on like two different chatbots today. So we help customers with that. And personally, I am currently learning. Let me just put like I'm currently learning AI automation. To some extent, I can like automate tasks and some of the tools I use like Zapier, I use anything too. And then my front end job, although I don't really get gigs nowadays because I've not been like really chance like push myself out as a freelancer. And my Upwork account is like currently no functional. So I've not been able to like work on any front end project. Although I've been building websites with WordPress. Yeah, we had like I think the web development team, we had like I think there's something website. I worked on about 15 or so, yeah, with WordPress actually. So but then when it comes to like custom website building, I've not been able to like work on any like within like I think the last project I worked on a custom website was that was like February. That was like a course allocation app. That was like February. Yeah. So that's basically what I do.
Wow. Okay. So you're building chatbots, like AI chatbots, or just like integrating
Yeah,
some.
AI chatbot.
Oh, okay. That's actually interesting. I wonder if I wonder if it will be beneficial for us to kind of have like a session where I don't know, people kind of show us how they do their work, or kind of share some knowledge around, okay, you're building a chatbot, you could come up and show us, like I built chatbots like this, like this. Probably that could be something that would be beneficial to the community. But it sounds like
Yeah, no,
your
no,
pardon.
yeah, I said no problem is something I can like contribute to like help the community grow. Okay.
Awesome, somebody. Well, it sounds like you're kind of a pretty experienced guy already. Um, like from software engineering to the cloud. That's quite a journey. So, are you like familiar with any other cloud right now as well? Like Azure, or are you just focused on AWS?
Yeah, at the moment, focused on AWS. Although like before I started cloud at all, I was like exploring GCP, that's Google Cloud um platform. Yeah, I was exploring it, but I didn't really go deep into it. So I can't say I have like experience with it. I just know about it. And also IBM and Azure, I've only heard about it. I've not really like gone to their console or something like that. But I've done that for IBM, I've done that for GCP. But now I'm focused on AWS.
Okay. Awesome, man. Thanks for sharing. It's fascinating. I think Timmy, do you have like a question or something? You wanna say something? Raising your
Good evening. Is a question.
hand. Okay.
Can I go ahead?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so I just wanted to also ask, in addition to what the first person asked, so about what's your day-to-day day is like when as a data analyst. So I used to have this question like, for data analyst, what they do every day apart from, okay, I know they analyze that and they do this. I always wonder, like, after you analyze one data, is this what you do are you going to have a lot of data to be working with every day as a full-time analyst or something like that? So like, okay, you have done what is it every day that this company you're working with every day they have data that will keep you busy? So my question, like, what are the things that will keep you busy every day if you're working for a company on a full time? So just like the way Mr. Lekon explain what he does every day. So if I have a data analyst explain what they do every day too, I mean, how busy are they? What keeps them busy? I mean, what kind of things do they do? I don't know if you get
Okay.
my question.
Yeah, I mean, I get your question. Hopefully, we can get a data analyst, who is actually, working as a data analyst, join us at some, one of this session and give us, his own experience. But what I can tell you for sure is it's definitely different for each individual and especially each company, right? As a data analyst, it's a little bit different from, say, data engineer, for instance. I think data analyst is basically like um they just wanna like do some Excel, SQL stuff, which is mostly like moving data around and kind of putting them in a way that people can understand. But the specific tasks that you will have in each company is going to be very different. It's going to be is going to be determined by the current challenges that you know um, a company is facing at the time, right? I think maybe you can have like a tax that says, okay, we receive this uncleaned data from clients. You need to kind of present it in a way that it will make sense. So you will need to have like the skills to kind of whip up an Excel document that puts all the data in columns and tables in a way that it will make sense to like the managers, in a way that someone can actually share it to another person and they will be able to make sense of it. And then um maybe you need to also go take some steps and put them in a Power BI format, whereby you can add all these charts and all these graphs and kind of compare the data to kind of bring out more information out of the data, kind of like a dashboard that people can have access to, and they can even like search and things like that. Funny enough, I was doing this. I was doing a lot of Power BI when I was at Microsoft, like a lot of Power BI, and I wasn't even a data analyst. So, like I said, like it can be very different. If you're working in a big company, like a really big company, you might end up doing just one thing every day. Maybe it's just Excel documents you're gonna be doing every day. So you end up getting really good at Excel, and maybe um other things you've learned will suffer. But if you're in a smaller company, you will kind of have a more challenging environment that actually allows you to learn a whole lot more, because there will be so many things to do and fewer people to do them, right? So top of my head, I would say it basically looks like working with Excel documents, CSV files, or maybe databases, like SQL, or a combination of all those things, Excel documents, and then just putting all those data together in a way that it can make business sense. I think that's basically what they do. It's gonna be different for each company and each team, based on like their immediate need and things like that. Yeah, but I think that's probably okay. Oladekun.
Yeah, I just want to like buttress more on your point because to some extent I have like experience with these data analytics aspects. Yeah. So actually I started my career with like data analytics actually. So basically sometimes let's say like in the company, let's take Nestle for example now, and the data analyst comes in like when they have like issue with, let's say, customers are like, or when they have like decrease in their revenue. Yeah, so they want to like get what is actually wrong, like what is going wrong. Is it like, why is it that the demand is like lower than the supply, or why is it that the supply is lower than the demand and stuff like that? So first thing, you get your data and everything like that. So sorting out data can be like a whole lot of task. So, sorting data, attending meetings, there will be like, you guys will have like retrospective meetings and a lot of meetings like that. And then when you are done with the data, you're done with your analysis, you have to like come up with like your visual representation. You are going to like explain, okay, when like you have your variables, let's say for example, you're using your dependent and independent variables, for instance. So you're explaining using your dependent variable and your independent variable, explain to them, okay, I I analyzed this on this, like maybe like the customer supply or the customer demand, this also here, this also here, and also the customer supply, this also here, and this also here. And at this particular point, I noticed like a decrease in the demand, or I noticed like a increase in supply due to a particular factor then. And what was the factor? Probably like we changed a particular let's say one of the stuffs we like use like get the product done. Probably we removed it. Let's say for example a cough syrup. Now let's say you remove caffeine from the cough syrup and customers are not finding it like effective. So it reduced the demand. So stuff like that. So when you're doing stuff like that, it takes like a whole lot of time. So you won't even have time to think of you're not doing something else, you're not doing something else. So that's like part of what like data analysis. That's part of the things they do. So it's not just going to be like every time you're analyzing. Sometimes after your analysis, you have to like come up with solutions. Yeah, that's the
Explanation.
main goal because there's no that you just go there and analyze and you won't come up with solutions. So after your analysis, you have like come up with solutions. So we can do this to solve this problem and stuff like that. And also that data can help with so many things. Can help in let's say the company's annual reports, so we can do a lot of things. So I think that's like part of what the data analysts do.
That's somebody. Thanks for sharing your perspective as well. Yeah, so I mean, it sounds like like as a data analyst, it's not just all about the tools at the end of the day, it's developing the your work on. It's kind of developing the confidence to be able to come up to meetings and actually like present your work. So the company is looking up to you to make sense of their data, and not just to put them together, but they are also hoping for you to make them understand what it means. You get, so you have to be able to break down those concepts in a way that people can, your team members, or your boss can make sense of it, I guess. So, well, it sounds like an interesting role, but in my own experience, I've seen that people usually pick data analytics when they are starting because it feels like it has a lower barrier to entry. Like you can actually learn it, maybe because the tools are not that hard compared to, say, I don't know, data science, for instance, or data engineering. Is that right? I mean, I've seen a lot of people who wants to join tech, and they are trying to pick what to learn, and then they'll be like, all these things are hard. I think I can do data analytics. Is that you guys like, is that how you guys see it, or am I mistaken here?
Yeah, most people both. That's how we see it. Like people see data analytics like they see it as something easy than data science. Data science now you still have to like do, that research part of data science is what kills like most people. They just want to like do something real quick and get the money. We're in Nigeria.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing your insights. Olalekan, very, very awesome. So, do we have any other person in the house who is also, like currently working, who wants to kind of like give us, just like a little insight on what their work looks like, just for educational purposes for our new members.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Mr. Augustine. So, because we are just starting out in that area, so that's I wanted to know things that I'm going into very well as in the career path. So now I understand the role of data analyst. I don't mind if you could also share how does it differentiate from data scientist or data engineer? Though I'm starting as a data analyst, I've learned some of the tools like of data analyst, like you said. So, but I'm also learning AI. So, but I want to know also what do AI people, I mean, data scientists and data engineer, what do they do that's different from like what you explain now as data analyst?
Yeah, so for data scientists, or data engineering, it's usually goes a little more technical, I think. Like earlier I was mentioning like things like Jupyter notebooks and things like that. So I think that's really the data science stuff. Um their own is mostly, they know programming, and they know how to actually like write code to automate a lot of the processes that helps us to move data around, not just moving them around. It could also be like to move them to like some model location where the data will be used to train like AI models and things like that. So for data engineers, they will work with um like other machine learning, other people who are working in machine learning, like the machine learning engineer or AI engineer, and they will kind of work together to basically uh deploy models, train them, and put them to good use for the company. So it will probably involve a lot of coding in Python, obviously, and pulling data from APIs and moving them from one place to another. Yeah, mostly there will be a whole lot other tools. Like for instance, if you're on Azure, I know they have like Azure Synapse, they have Databricks, they have a couple other tools that I've seen the data guys use a lot. So but these are data heavy tools that that helps us manage data on a very large scale. So the data engineers, they usually know about all those more technical things, like using these tools and writing automations for them, right? Make sense? All right, guys. Does anybody have any other questions today? I've got some things in the chat. Oh, okay. Thank you. You're welcome. Hi, Mohammed. I think I'm seeing this name for the first time. Are you joining us for the first time? Mohammed, are you there? All right, guys. Nice chat today. I think it was insightful session. So tomorrow, for those guys who are just joining us for the first time, we have kind of like a rigid schedule now. So we meet like every day. We couldn't meet yesterday because I wasn't feeling fine. So but tomorrow is we have a class on Python. So hopefully we'll see you all there. And if you have any questions, just feel free to drop it in the chat or reach out to me and whatever. All right, guys. Thanks so much for showing up today and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, sir.
All righty.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.